My neighbor reported me for excessive cooking smells after I made my grandma's curry. When I asked why, she said, "This isn't your country." I didn't argue. I just started cooking every night. Now her house is on the market, and she doesn't know I'm the reason. So I moved to this small neighborhood in Madison, Wisconsin about 9 months ago. I just finished my graduate program and landed a job downtown, and this apartment was the best I could afford. It's in a quiet residential area, mostly older folks. I'm not loud, don't throw parties, pay my rent early. I mostly keep to myself. I'm Indian American. Born here. Grew up in New Jersey. My parents are from Gujarat. Every Sunday as a kid, we'd go to my grandma's house and she'd make this chicken curry that filled the house with the kind of smell that clings to your clothes, your hair, everything. It was strong, yeah, but it smelled like home, like being loved. One night, I was really missing her. It had been a hard week. Work stress, homesickness, everything. So, I decided to cook her curry for the first time in years. I went to the Indian store and picked up everything: garam masala, mustard seeds, fresh curry leaves, Kashmiri chili. I made everything from scratch. It took about 2 hours. The entire apartment smelled like ginger, garlic, and slow-cooked chicken. It was the first time this place felt like mine. Next morning, I found a note slid under my door. No envelope. Just folded paper with black ink. Please refrain from cooking such strong food. The smell is making it hard to breathe in my own home. This isn't your country. Please respect your neighbors. That line. This isn't your country. I just stood there reading it over and over. At first I thought maybe I was misreading it. Maybe it wasn't meant the way it sounded. But then I remembered the way the woman across the hall, Mrs. Harrison, had looked at me a few times when we passed each other. She never said hello, never made eye contact, just stared. I didn't reply. I didn't confront her. I didn't even mention it to anyone. I just went back to the kitchen the next night and cooked again. That time it was lamb curry. I let the spices toast a little longer, let the onions caramelize deeper. My windows were closed, but the smell still spread. I sat down, ate quietly, and waited. Nothing. So I cooked again the next night. And again after that. At first it felt petty, but then it became something else. Something solid. A part of my day that felt like me. I'd get home from work, change clothes, and start chopping onions, peeling garlic, grinding spices in my mortar and pestle. I wasn't doing it at her. I was doing it in spite of her. And she noticed. A week later, I heard her talking to another neighbor in the hallway. She didn't even lower her voice. It's like living above a restaurant. Every damn night. The smell sticks to my curtains. My dog won't stop sneezing. The other neighbor didn't say much. Just murmured something like, maybe talk to the landlord? I never heard from the landlord. I think she did complain, but nothing came of it. There's no rule about what you can or can't cook in your own home. So I kept going. Then I got creative. I started cooking regional dishes from all over India. Kerala fish curry with tamarind. Hyderabadi biryani. Paneer tikka masala. I roasted spices. I grilled marinated meat on a stovetop griddle. I fried mustard seeds until they popped like firecrackers. The hallways smelled incredible. I started getting compliments. One neighbor, a young couple down the hall, knocked on my door one night and said, "Whatever you're making smells amazing." I offered them a small plate. They came back the next week with a bottle of wine to say thanks. Mrs. Harrison didn't say anything, but I saw her, looking, watching. Once, I saw her trying to air out her unit by opening her front door wide and turning on a fan. Another time, she left a bowl of vinegar in the hallway, supposedly to absorb the odor. I ignored it. Then came the real kicker. I got a message from someone on Facebook I didn't know. Turned out, her niece was trying to sell the house. Mrs. Harrison's place. The message was polite but odd. "Hey, I think you live next door to my aunt. She's trying to sell her home, but she's having a really hard time during viewings. Buyers keep mentioning a strong smell in the hallway. Just wondering if you've noticed anything?" I didn't respond. Instead, I made butter chicken that night with extra fenugreek. then fish curry the night after, then dal with black mustard seeds and asafoetida the night after that. They tried to have another open house. I saw the realtor come in, spray something from a can, then crack every window they could. I watched from my kitchen window, while cooking sog painter. Nobody stayed long. She still doesn't know it's me. She still avoids eye contact. Still walks stiffly down the hallway like the walls are closing in on her. And I haven't even started using the tandoor oven my cousin's giving me next month. A few weeks after the Facebook message, I started noticing weird things. First, someone started turning off the ventilation fans in the hallway. Normally, they run all day to keep the air moving, but suddenly, they were off in the evenings, right when I'd start cooking. I didn't think much of it at first. Old buildings have their issues. But then it kept happening. Every time I came home and started prepping dinner, the fans were off. I checked the breaker room one night. The switch for the hallway fans had been flipped. I flipped it back on. The next night, it was off again. That's when I knew. It was her, Mrs. Harrison. I didn't say anything, but I started writing down every date and time. I took pictures of the breaker panel, just in case. Then came the banging. Not loud, just enough to be annoying. Every time I started cooking, there'd be knocks from her side of the wall. Sometimes she used a broom handle or something heavy. Just a few thuds. Like a warning. I didn't react. But I started cooking louder. Frying. Blending. Sizzling. I even played old Hindi music from my laptop. Nothing loud. Just enough to drift under the door. Then one night, things got ugly. I came home from work, opened my door, and stopped. Someone had smeared something on it. Brown oily. Like sauce or grease. It stank on purpose. At first I thought it was animal waste, but it was just spoiled food. Something rotten. Maybe old meat. I stood there holding my groceries, staring at the mess. I didn't need proof. I knew it was her. I cleaned it in silence. Didn't call the landlord. Didn't file a report. I just wiped it all away, then went inside and made prawn curry with mustard seed and coconut milk. She banged harder that night. 2 days later, there was a knock at my door. A man in his 50s, gray suit, clipboard. He introduced himself as a city inspector. Said he was following up on a complaint about persistent odors and potential fire risk due to daily high-heat cooking. I asked who made the complaint. He said he couldn't disclose that. But I knew. He walked in, looked around, took a few notes. When he saw my setup, a standard electric stove, no open flame, everything clean and well-kept, he nodded. This all looks fine to me. You're not violating anything. Maybe just open your windows during cooking. That's all I'd recommend. He left after 5 minutes. That night, I didn't just cook. I invited 4 coworkers over. We cooked together. Chicken vindaloo, garlic naan, eggplant barda, jeera, rice. We laughed, opened the windows wide, and let the scent pour out. I saw her front door shut tight. Curtains drawn. Lights off. A week later, the for sale sign outside her house came down. Not because it's sold, but because the listing expired. I looked it up online. Still unsold. Lingering interior odors mentioned in the feedback. She hasn't spoken to me. Hasn't even looked my way. But now she knows I know. And I haven't stopped cooking. About 2 weeks after the inspector visit, I got an envelope in the mail. No stamp. Just slid into my mailbox like the earlier note. Inside was a single printed sheet. Do you think making the building smell like a foreign street market makes you powerful? People are talking. You're not welcome here. We can make you leave. No signature. No name. But this time, it wasn't written in pen, it was typed. Someone wanted to make it look serious. I sat down on my kitchen floor and held it in my hands for a while. I wasn't scared, exactly. But I felt something darker now. This wasn't just about food. This was about trying to erase me. My presence. My history. Everything about me that didn't fit their version of what belongs here. I put the paper in a drawer. Then I started looking for something else. I found a small, unused storage unit in the building's basement that had a ventilation shaft connected to the central HVAC. Nobody had touched it in years. It was dusty, abandoned. So I cleaned it out. and I turned it into my spice prep room. I started grinding fresh spices every other night. Cumin, coriander, cinnamon, star anise. I kept the door open just a crack so the air from the shaft would pull the aroma up and out. It worked. The entire building started smelling like my grandma's kitchen. Not just my floor. Not just the hallway. The whole damn structure. One neighbor, down on the first floor, caught me in the mailroom and said, "Is someone baking something? It smells unusual." I smiled. Just cooking. That week, Mrs. Harrison put her house back on the market. New realtor. New listing. They scheduled private showings instead of open houses now. But here's where it got interesting. The new realtor called the landlord. He came by the next day. Told me they were getting complaints from potential buyers about the smell again. I invited him in. Made him tea. Showed him my clean kitchen, the city inspector's note, everything. "You know," he said, sipping the tea, "you're not doing anything wrong. But she's been in that unit 20 years. She's convinced you're doing this on purpose." I looked him in the eye and said, "I'm cooking my dinner." He nodded. Well, she might not last much longer. 3 days later, it escalated again. Someone keyed my car. Not deep gouges, just angry, messy swipes across the hood. Nothing stolen. Nothing broken. But the message was clear. The next day, I checked the apartment's old camera system. One grainy camera pointed at the parking lot caught a blurry figure in a long coat, moving quickly. I took screenshots. Brought them to the landlord. He frowned. "This is getting out of hand." He didn't say who he thought it was. But he added another camera that week. Better quality. Wider angle. Directly above the lot. And I kept cooking. But then, something unexpected happened. Mrs. Harrison went silent.
No banging.
No notes. No more fan switches or complaints. I thought maybe she was giving up. Until I saw the new car parked in her driveway. Then another. Then a third one, out of state plates. For 3 nights in a row. Her house was full of people. Lights on late. Curtains open. People I didn't recognize coming and going. All older. Some with briefcases. Something was happening. I started to wonder if she was trying to sue me. Or force a health inspection. Or maybe even find a way to claim harassment. So, I prepared. I started recording everything, my cooking, the state of my apartment, my visitors, everything. I emailed myself timestamp logs. I saved every message and photo. Because if she was going to play games, I was going to be ready this time. I didn't know who the new people at Mrs. Harrison's place were, but something about them felt off. They weren't family. No small talk on the porch, no neighborly waves. They came in focused, carrying clipboards, laptops, and folders. They always left looking annoyed or frustrated. On the 4th night, I saw one of them standing outside, by her mailbox, staring at my building. Not casually. Staring directly at my window. He looked like he was doing math in his head. That's when I realized this wasn't just about selling the house anymore. She was trying to rezone. Or get the building flagged for nuisance odors to lower its value. Maybe even to push me out with some legal excuse. And with a few good connections in the neighborhood association who I now suspected she'd been talking to, they might actually try something. So, I got ahead of it. I reached out to the couple down the hall who'd complimented my food a few weeks back. I asked if they'd be willing to write a short note about the smell not bothering them. They said yes, no problem. Said they loved it. Then I talked to the guy in 3B. Quiet guy, lives alone. Always smells like weed. He said, "Man, if your food is a problem, they should smell my place." He laughed and wrote a short letter, too. Within 3 days, I had 5 written statements from tenants saying the smells weren't a problem and didn't interfere with their daily life. I sent them to the landlord, along with a copy of the typed threat note, a still shot from the parking lot camera, and a list of the times the hallway fans were shut off. I didn't say it was her. I just said, "If anything escalates again, I'll be filing a harassment report." He replied, "Thanks for this. I'll handle it from here." A few days passed. The tension felt different now, quieter, but heavier, like something was waiting. Then one morning I saw her door open while I was heading to work. She stepped out, looked right at me, and said, "I hope you're proud of what you've done."
Her voice was calm, flat.
Not angry, just tired. But behind her, I could see boxes stacked near the door. She was packing. I didn't say anything. I just nodded and walked past. That night, I made butter chicken. Slow, rich, thick with ghee and toasted spices. I ate alone at my table with the window open. No more banging. No more hallway vinegar. But I still wasn't sure it was over. Because I knew Mrs. Harrison. She was the kind of person who didn't leave quietly. Mrs. Harrison moved out the following month. No goodbye, no last word, not even a look in my direction when the moving truck pulled away. Her house sold under value. I saw the final listing. Lingering odor issues, it said still. I don't know if she blames me or just the world in general, but she left and I stayed. I still cook every night. I still open my window. And sometimes, when I'm crushing garlic or watching the onions brown just right, I wonder if she ever told anyone what she said to me that first time. What started all of this? Probably not. People like her usually leave out that part.